Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I'm in Beverly Hills, California, and I'm at the 13th edition of Monetized Talks hosted by David Rivera. And let me tell you, David puts on an amazing show. And my guest today is one of the speakers, Casey. Casey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on, Adam. How are you?
All right, Casey. So I'm excited, man. I'm not going to be talking during your presentation. I've heard a lot of great things. So first off, I want to know, is this one of your first events for Monetized Talks, or David, or have you been to others? Or
Yes, this is my first event. I met David probably 2 months ago.
Yeah.
We've been talking about making this happen. So very excited to be here. And yes, first time being here.
Hey, well, welcome, man. I promise you it's not going to be the last. That's how it happens, man. It sucks you in. He puts on a great show.
Absolutely. Excited to be here.
So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to present today. So don't worry about spoiling it, because the listeners this is going to be out in like 5 days. So give me some of what I can expect.
Yeah, I would say for me, and my whole mission and how I like to show up when I speak is really not only story driven, but really like to drive in certain points that resonate with the audience. So for example, today I believe that more important than ever, even contributing to what we're doing now, the value in industry of podcasting has grown like never before. My company, Listener.com, we really specialize and have created an ecosystem in the world of podcasting. And being at it now for 7 years, it'll be 7 years since I've been hosting my show, and it'll be December 21st, it'll be the 7-year mark. I really want to talk to the audience and the founders here about the value of not only starting a show, but getting booked on shows, and how the industry has shifted and how they can take advantage of it as a business owner.
Yeah, and it's the Casey Adams Show, right?
That is right.
I want my listeners to go check it out. Like, what can they expect?
Yeah, so, my show, the last 7 years, it's shifted and changed as I've grown as a founder. When I first started my show, I was 17 years old in my bedroom in Virginia, coming out of a neck injury where I was almost paralyzed.
Oh, man.
And, the show started with 3 goals that remain true to this day, which are I want to meet great people, I want to learn from them, and I want to create business opportunity. And the whole thesis of the show is to really dive into and expand entrepreneurial stories. So, as you do so well, sitting down with great people, I've done over 500 plus interviews throughout the years.
Amazing.
From the late Larry King to Elon Musk's mom and sister, and a wide range of different founders. And I mentioned those names, not just to mention the names, but to speak on a 17-year-old kid that was hopefully wanting to interview anyone and everyone in Virginia in this bedroom with no connections, ended up utilizing this medium to not only get in contact with so many great people in the world of business, but to actually start working with them, raise money from them. And it's really been, I like to say, the backbone of my career, but it starts with amplifying entrepreneurial stories on the show.
What do you think keeps you strong, keeps you going? Because 500, by the way, is an astronomical amount. Like, for the listeners that then don't know this, and I preach about it all the time, but I love that your number count's so high, because so many people quit early on. Like, they don't get past 10 episodes, past 20, let alone 100, but 500, that's impressive.
Yeah, thank you, man. I think there's a statistic where it says the average podcast puts out 10 to 12 episodes and never puts out an episode ever again. And I think there's one core reason, which is it's a medium that is very heavy lift. Meaning, you have this equipment here, we have the camera here. It's much different than just taking out your phone and shooting a 15-second video if you want to be successful with it. And the medium has matured so much over the years where now more than ever, and I used to say differently, quality matters so much in a world where there are millions and millions of podcasts. I remember putting out my first episode, audio only, on a pair of wired Apple headphones, and I was hitting the charts. And I think the value of a podcast has grown much beyond just the audio format, but, from a personal brand perspective, video perspective, and, I won't go too much in depth here today, but lots of stuff going on in the industry that I'm excited about.
What kind of advice do you give those that are looking at starting their first show?
I'd say my most important piece of advice with founders, old or young, that want to start a show is you have to get clarity on why you're doing it. As mentioned before, my why for doing this show remains true to this day. Meet great people, learn from them, and create business opportunity. And something I'll speak about later today, which I want to reference real quick, is my podcast really came full circle for me about 4.5 years after I was hosting it, where my last company, I was raising around the funding, and we ended up raising money from 37 angel investors, and about 90% of them were past guests on my podcast. So for me, going back to the why and what I want people to take away from this is, I knew from day one, no matter if it was 10 episodes in or 500 or 1,000, that I was so clear. If I meet great people, if I learn from them, and I hopefully one day create business opportunity, I will not only continue to do it, but I will love to do it. And that's how it's grown for me over the years in terms of my passion and conviction towards it. So I think if you're out there, you want to start a show, one, understand that it's the long game, podcasting or any type of content, matter of fact, but definitely podcasting.
For sure.
It's a long game. And if you don't have that mindset going into it, it's very easy to quickly come up with excuses. You say, hey, why am I doing this? It's such a heavy lift. It's a lot of money, having the time, getting the equipment, all that stuff that comes with like a media entity in a sense. So that would be my number one piece of advice, which is start with your why, get very clear on it, and be aware that that can change over time.
Awesome. Final question, because I think they're getting ready to get you up on stage. So final question, I want you to look into the camera. How can people learn more about your business? How can they follow up? How can they connect?
Yeah, so you can learn more about what we do here at listener.com. That's the domain. We keep it nice and simple over here. And then my Instagram page is just at Casey, Casey. That's the best place to talk to me, to stay in touch, and always happy to answer any questions. And once again, thank you so much for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for what you do. And for the audience, just so you know, we'll put all those links in the show notes so you can just click on them and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Casey, man, I'm looking forward to hearing you speak later.
Thank you so much.